So Dr. J and I attend a lot of conferences, and the number one thing that we hear most coaches, trainers, gym owners trying to ask for solutions to is more leads. And that's what we're going to go over today, how to get more leads. No, we're not.
Okay.
If you want to learn more about more leads, check out Alex Hormozi. He's got a great book coming out right now. He's got a great course. Check that out for more leads. But what we're going to dive into today is really ultimately what people are deep down looking for when they're asking for more leads. They're asking how to have a successful fitness facility.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. J, how does one have a successful fitness facility?
Well, you solve a problem that no one else is solving in a way that no one else is solving it.
Welcome to Becoming the Ultimate Fitness Coach with the Jock and the Doc podcast, where fitness meets behavioral science. Join your hosts, Scott Schutte, a seasoned personal trainer, gym owner, and 360 wellness coach, and Dr. Janine Steester, a PhD behaviorist and expert in all things behavior change, as they share their combined expertise to empower fitness professionals like you. With practical tips, cutting-edge topics, and industry-leading guests, you'll learn everything from motivation and goal setting to habit formation and overcoming obstacles. Whether you're a seasoned fitness pro or just starting off your coaching journey, Becoming the Ultimate Fitness Coach is your essential guide to mastering the art of coaching and changing lives.
So let's break that down. How do we solve this problem? And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Let's break down to one, I would say fairly new extreme, probably last 10 years or so. Don't fact check me on this. Planet Fitness. What did Planet Fitness solve?
Well, besides price.
Price. That is it. You nailed it.
Okay.
She did a good job. Good job, Dr. J.
I had some other thoughts, but that's okay. We'll just stick with the price because that's clearly where he's going with this.
I went and got a tour from their facility not too long ago because I had a client that was doing some extra training sessions there, and I wanted to see what equipment they had. Their equipment is nice.
It's purple, isn't it?
Some of it is.
Yeah, okay.
Their facility is pretty nice. The equipment they have, it's pretty good equipment. And it's like $1 a month, $1 starting, $10 a month, no contract. So basically we have now access for almost anybody that can afford this facility. So they solved a problem. Now, it's not the business model like we really like, because that model is more on, we want to get as many people as possible and hopefully not very many people show up.
Well, yeah, because it's supposed to solve the accessibility issue, but if you're somebody on the couch that's anxious about going or doesn't know where to start, it still doesn't move that needle.
So let's move on from there. Let's go large group training. So large group training could be like your CrossFit facility. It could be some of your boot camp stuffs. So the problem they solve is they're good at community. CrossFit did one thing, I would say two things they did really well. One, they showed people how to work really hard, because people who do CrossFit typically work really hard. And two, they did a great job of just like building community around this workout.
Yep.
And so you see a lot of these boot camps because I know other people that go to these boot camp style classes, and they have the same people there, and they know the instructors, and it becomes this third place, which is super important. And it's also doing it at a price point that is, definitely not that one-on-one high end, but it's giving them that lower price point because there's a lot of people there, and it's giving them that community feel.
Well, and it's also a very come as you are community. You don't have to have a certain type of clothing or have a look or have a certain baseline. It's come as you are. The facilities necessarily might be pretty raw looking, meaning not super fancy, not dressed up or anything like that, but come as you are. And then that community is so strong. One of the things that always struck me when I first got to look at CrossFit too is people would sometimes get injured, or it's just they work really hard, so sometimes you're gonna, and it didn't faze them. It was like, well, these are my people, I'm just coming back to it. And where other places, when people get hurt, they kind of, I shouldn't go back and that, whatever. But that community is so strong that they want to be part of that and are willing to wait until they're ready to come back.
And moving on from that, we're seeing a lot of this small group training. So if you're wanting a little bit more attention, you have a little bit more financial means, you like a little bit more of that interaction with the coach. You don't want to be in there with a lot of different people, or if you're doing like a CrossFit style with like barbells going over or something like that, like it serves another niche. Then we go on to like one-on-one. And so the one-on-one space is where I've been the last 13, 14 years in my fitness facility. And it's funny going to the conferences and people are like, well, small group is better for X, Y, and Z. And like all of these can work. Like there's pros and cons for all of them. And I think it's important to understand because I see a lot of people like, well, I'm going to change my motto to the small group because that's what everyone's saying is better. But I've been in the space for 20 years now, and I see like it just jumps around. Large group was really good because like, look how much money you can make for the, if you get more and more people in there, or if you're doing just a gym membership and you get tons and tons of people paying and hopefully not showing up, or one-on-one has this advantage, a small, so they all have their advantages and disadvantages. All I can say is like you're single, you have single problems. You have a girlfriend, you have girlfriend problems. You're married, you got married problems. Like every one of them has some problems. It's just like what problems do you want to deal with? So figuring out what you're going to solve, like Dr. J said. The other part, and you can have several of these things going on, the other part that makes us stand out in that need that we have is the 360 wellness coaching. And we'll link in this one, the last episode we did dove into this 360 wellness coaching, because we're all about trying to find ways to stand out. And there's other places that are doing one-on-one personal training in town. So how do we stand out different from them? And I don't want to compete on price. That's not a good game to play. Like if you look at our prices in town, we're the most expensive in town, but we also offer the best services. And that's just not being like we're the best coaches and offer the best training because everyone's saying that. It's more of like our facilities is nicer. The amenities that we have are nicer. The 360 wellness coaching is something extra that we do as part of the one-on-one training to help them what they're doing inside and outside the gym. We have the one-on-one. So it's about adding all these different things up that's serving their needs, is solving a problem, and it's a way for you to stand out.
Well, yeah, and there's a couple of things that, Scott, you just went through that I think are also worth noting is just like you said, you've been in this space for 20 years and you've seen all these things sort of ebb and flow, but they're all still good models. And that's very similar to what the consumer feels when they're looking at workout models and things like that. Things will be hotter and colder and we see them come and go. So to resolve that issue, part of it is, and I've talked about this before, is know yourself and what you enjoy doing. What types of facility is you? Are you a CrossFit kind of person? Are you a small group person? Is this the type of facility that you either want to work in or run? What fits your personality? And which doesn't make one or the other better or worse, because at the end of the day, any business model you pick, you have to be able to run it and run it well, right? And then from a standout perspective, what typically is consistent across gym owners and coaches is their desire to help people. So when you're taking something like 360 Wellness that solves a problem that no one else is solving in that regard and in that way, you're still feeding your personality, your desire to help, and adding on to whichever business model you have. But it's just this notion of quality and standing out in quality, because you talked about this also with price. You don't want to play the price game. Consumers get really savvy to that anymore. It's always 20% off here. This is discounted. That's for free. This is. And there are people that love playing that game, and they will always love playing that game, and they will go to whoever's playing that game with them. But for the rest of the population, which is the most, they get exhausted with that game. They just want to know that they get quality for what they're paying for. So if you have a business model that works and you're solving this extra problem, like the 360 Wellness of really looking at their whole lifestyle, what they're doing inside and outside the gym, and helping them make small changes with sustained, then you've built that trust. And then whatever type of community that you're building with your business model.
And one reason we're so bullish on the 360 Wellness, beyond the fact that it helps the client so much on reaching their goals, is because it can fit in every one of these models. So you're a CrossFit and you're doing large group training. I'm willing to bet there's another CrossFit in your town. So how are you standing out amongst them? So if you're like, hey, we also do the 360 wellness coaching, we're doing this one-on-one once a month where we're coaching you on everything that you're doing inside and outside the gym. It's a way to stand out amongst the other CrossFitters.
Exactly.
If you're doing a small group training. So I was recently reading an article that Nike is going to start boutique fitness facilities.
Yep.
And so if you have a small group training facility, and then, an Orange Theory opens up on this side and a Nike opens up on this side, well, brand recognition, like more than likely, you're going to be the low man on the totem pole.
Do you think you have to wear Nike in the Nike workout? Like
I think they're going to sell you some Nike stuff.
So if you walk in with Adidas,
they'll probably give you a discount. Like, get that shit off.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they're doing this small group training, and most of the consumers don't know the difference between good small group training and bad small group training until they've been in there and possibly hurt themselves. But like, how are you going to stand out amongst them? And I know some people are like, well, we're going to have a nicer facility. Well, the problem is if someone with more money comes in, then you're competing against that, and then you don't have the nicest facility. So adding some of these extra services, like the 360 Wellness Coaching, and giving that one-on-one attention, helping people And when we talk about reaching the goals, that doesn't always mean hitting the exact weight or hitting the exact body
Exactly.
fat. It's
Yeah.
more of like having success, feeling good about in their body, showing them that it is possible. So that's what we consider success with this. And this can fit in every model. And this is a way for you to have success because it's a way for you to stand out. And that, my friend, will get you the leads that you want.
And think about the things that you like to spend money on and what you find value in. And where I'm headed with that is a nice facility is something that people might appreciate about a facility, enjoy, and is part of what they like. But very few people are going to go, I'd like to spend double what I'm spending here for your nice facility. Because people in the back of their head, they view it as that's your overhead, that's your choice, they shouldn't have to pay for it. And so although people appreciate it, they don't equate that typically to what they're paying. So if you have something that is solving their problem, that is different, that is value add, and they're paying for that, talk about a much easier way to market to people and say, because are you going to market like, look, I just have a very pretty, nice facility? It can be part of your communication of like all the reasons why our place is amazing. But really think about what people want to spend their money for and what you're spending your marketing dollars on trying to bring them in, and not competing with the brand recognition or whichever is their favorite color. Is it orange or purple? Those types of things. And really that value of you're making an impact on my life, and they're going to feel better about making progress on their goals. If I like how I feel when I'm around you and when I'm working with you, guess what? I'm going to stay working with you.
Yeah, and the other advantage of just adding on more services that they really want and need, it's less about price comparison then. Because we have a lot of people that
Yep.
come in and they're like, okay, I'm looking at different facilities in town and I want some one-on-one personal training. And that's the majority of what we do. And so they're doing price shopping at that point. It might be a little bit of the feel for the place they go in there,
Yeah.
but a lot of it's price. And I'm like, listen, like it's comparing them to us as apple and oranges because yes, they are doing one-on-one, and yes, we are, but we're doing all these other things too. And we're not going to just coach you inside the gym, but also outside the gym. So we're making sure that everything that you're doing is lining up with your goals. And so it's a way that you can charge more and people will want to pay that higher price point because they're getting more and they're getting something that they really need. And so it goes from like my first gym that I started was a CrossFit facility. And you're charging 150 a month and you get like 100 people in there, you're like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. But then a couple more CrossFits open up in town, and like, how do you compete against that? And then we shifted our model to more one-on-one, adding the 360 wellness coaching, adding some more amenities. And now we're closer to that 230 client mark, paying on average 360 a month. Like, that's a better place to be at for your overall business. And so setting that up right will get those more leads, will improve the sales, will improve the retention, do all the things that you want to have that successful gym that you're looking for.
And even if you're doing things like one of my favorite types of testimonials is, so let's say you're doing 6 weeks challenges or 10-week challenges, or you have models like that. And there's check-ins and different things like that. But if you're doing 360 wellness, even with something like that, my favorite testimonials aren't the ones where somebody's like, oh, I've changed my body in 12 weeks or 6 weeks. I mean, that's nice, and the visuals are, of course, helpful, and we're a very visual society. But when someone says, I changed my life, that they enjoy their life more, they're able to do more things, they're having this, like that's a testimonial that people can say, yes, I want changes. This person was able to change their life. They're getting to do the things that I wish I was able to do. I can relate to that. Whereas just physical challenges, sometimes I might resonate and go, oh, it kind of looked like the before, and wow, I could. But sometimes I don't relate to that body type or that the gender or whatever it is. But if you say, I was able to play with my kids without aches and pains, I was able to go on a hike with my significant other on this Colorado trip or whatever it is, I can see myself doing that. I can relate to that, and I don't visually have to look like you. So just thinking about it, how you can, even if you're looking at your business model and saying, I'm doing pretty well, I have this system, and I'm just, think about how much you could enhance that.
So we want to hear from you. In the comments, send us a note, like, what are you doing to stand out? How are you finding success? And with that, you'll get more leads. See you next time.